can't explain how each and every one of you, how honored I am not to only be a part of this amazing organization, but to be able to stand up here today and speak my story on behalf of Team Challenge and the Philly Delaware chapter. I want to thank you for giving me the chance to tell my story. I have a feeling my personal fight with Crohn's has similarities to what many of you have experienced, but to give you a better idea and understanding of what I've been through, we'll start at the beginning of my journey, when I got diagnosed with Crohn's. My battle with Crohn's began during what some refer to as their prime years, while I was attending college at Bloomsburg University in Pennsylvania. Attempting to gain my independence as any teenager does during this time, except spending more time in the emergency department and then in classes was not exactly on my to-do list. Neither was losing 40 pounds in a few short months, as well as learning to deal with the excruciating pain that waved in and out of my body, all which pretty much left me an emotional wreck, to say the least. After numerous well-meaning home remedies from my mother trying to fix me, as any mother would, I ended up in a gastroenterologist's office. He explained that this was simply just a GI infection, which pretty much was what the rest of the doctors were misdiagnosing me as. That there was this very small chance that I had a disease called Crohn's disease. After dealing with numerous misdiagnoses already, I had a feeling this doctor was going to be just like the rest and just brush my pain and suffering aside. I left that initial consultation with him with numerous testing ahead of me. Blood tests, stool testing, barium studies, CT scans, ultrasounds, but it was ultimately the colonoscopy that confirmed it for the doctors. It was Crohn's disease. Since then, I've experienced both good and bad. Landed myself back in the hospital due to coming out of remission at least once a year. I've lost a couple of jobs, but I successfully graduated from Kutztown University in 2009, only a year behind my graduating class. And I've had numerous emotional breakdowns along the way. The years that were supposed to be some of the best memories of my life had somehow turned into a tumultuous time that would ultimately leave me a different person. I stand here today to exemplify the great things Crohn's has driven me to do. But I think it's also important to note that it has also brought me to my worst. Mistakes, bad decisions, broken promises, I've made them. And while I won't blame them on this disease, it certainly does take a part in all that I do, good and bad. I think it's impossible for a disease like Crohn's, one that sends me painful reminders each and every day, not to. True, it's brought its blessings. Through Crohn's, I realized that the friends and family I am fortunate to have in my life are truly second to none. With each hospitalization I endured, I am hard-pressed to remember a time when I was left alone for more than a few hours in the hospital alone. Though, if you probably would have asked me at that time, I would have told you just what I wanted. And as some of you may or may not be able to relate, some of those days a smile was hard to find within myself. And dare I say, my disposition wasn't the brightest, even for those I loved so much. But the light it's shown on my incredible support network is something I'll never forget. And it's something many who haven't been through such a debilitating disease process may even take for granted. This disease also brought me the great relationships, friendships, and opportunities thus far been afforded by CCFN. And more than anything, it's brought out a new strength and a fight I never knew I had. But it would be a falsehood to say that Crohn's has brought only blessings to my life. And I will tell you the blessings in Crohn's are not always easy to see. And that strength wasn't always so prominent. When my disease flares up and the pain feels never-ending, sometimes it's hard to see out of it. While I've now learned to manage my pain in healthy ways, I can say it's never easy, and it was once unbearable. One such instance is deeply ingrained in who I am today. When I was in my late teens, soon after my diagnosis, there came a day when I couldn't clearly see out of it. Even a reason for living was lost in me. That day may have been my darkest. But the reason I bring this up is not to discourage you, but to encourage you, because I'm still here, and I'm still fighting. I made it through every dark day that's come my way, and I'm still fighting. Sure, I'm a work in progress, just like all of you. Sometimes my bad days get the best of me, but I never let them keep me down for long. I've found my voice, and I will not stop fighting until this devastating disease is cured. With the help of my generous friends, family, supporters, and random people you meet on the airplane, I have raised over $12,000 for this disease. And the best part of that is I've only just begun.
Yeah.
Just 6 months ago, I had a completely different outlook on life. I was sitting in a hospital bed, more unanswered questions, more specialists, another down the emotional roller coaster that started when Crohn's entered my life. It wasn't another flare at this time, though. It was the medication that I was taking for it that was destroying my immune system, leaving me severely neutropenic and very ill. After a bone marrow biopsy, which apparently they don't put you out for anymore, thought they did, wide awake, sorry, no. Countless blood tests, numerous Neupogen injections, and a few months later, the doctors finally decided to go down a different route, methotrexate. Ultimately, my last hope. I'm doing better today, but I will forever be thankful for this time because it was during this time period that I found my voice. I found my place in this fight against Crohn's disease, and it was no longer laying down and letting it take over my life. In doing research on Crohn's, I came across the CCFA website. I had done take steps for CCFA a couple years back after another annual hospitalization. But I felt an urge to do something this time that was going to push me to the limit, emotionally, mentally, and most of all, physically. I wanted something that was going to fight back against this debilitating disease and show everyone, including myself, that I had this disease, but no longer was it going to have a grip on me. I wanted the upper hand. I saw the Teen Challenge information, ultimately was intrigued by all the positive things I had heard about it. Immediately, I met with my endurance manager at Starbucks, and I remember the exact words when I had committed to doing this challenge. She asked me which race I wanted to run in. I asked her which one was the most money to raise, which is ultimately why I'm here in Kona today. I wanted that big fish. Although I would have been perfectly fine doing any of the races, I wanted that big fish, and I wanted to finally break the silence that I've been holding inside of me for the past 7 years. And push myself to the max to prove that I would no longer let this disease hold me back from all of my dreams in life. It's no exaggeration to say that this challenge and the people of CCFA has ultimately changed my life. I was never a runner. I always tended to lean towards the pessimistic side of things and never quite pushed myself to the limit. This challenge, along with my chapter of teammates, have pushed me to my physical limits in this punch-for-punch battle with Crohn's disease after each long-distance run. I would like to share a poem my sister wrote for me a few years back for my birthday about Crohn's, and I think a lot of people who are fighting a disease similar to Crohn's can relate to it. You, an unintentional soldier of strength against a dirty, debilitating disease, hold within you a spirit that sparkles. Yet when that glow is hiding beneath the Crohn's in your bones, reach out to those around you, borrow a fistful of fight from some family and friends, because we wage this war together. For the pain that brings us here, gives us force, makes us fierce. I think everyone can relate to this poem, whether you're a Crohn's patient, a family member, a friend, or even a coworker. Each and every one of you has your own unique story as to how these diseases have affected your life. And I encourage you to keep using your voice to spread the word about IBD. We are all fighting in this battle together, and we're all here for the same fight, for a cure. Recently, I made a promise to myself while telling my story to a patient at my job. And as soon as the words came out of my mouth, I knew this was a promise that I wasn't going to be taking lightly, and it was going to be one that I was going to keep. I will not stop running until there is a cure. I will keep raising awareness about these diseases and raising money until we can finally have some peace of mind for the 1.4 million people that are affected by these diseases. Just know that every step you take tomorrow, you're not only taking it for yourself, but also for everyone out there who hasn't found their voice or who isn't able to. All of us, we are a team, and we wage this battle together. My best advice to each and every one of you for tomorrow is just to know that when the rest of your body gives out, you run with your heart. And when your mind tells you that you can't, during the race tomorrow or sometime in the future, I hope you think of me. Please take a breath and remember that while this disease may bring you to your depths, it can certainly take you to your heights. We've got a ways to go till these debilitating diseases are cured, but I'm in it with all I got. Together we'll find a cure. Now let's do this.